Hi guys, Andy here again from Mad Lad Designs with the setup and the first few turns of the board game that I've created called Chaos, the Battle of the Wizards. I did a little intro. I'll put a link if you've missed that little intro before this video. It explains a bit what's going on. But before we start, let us take a quick look at the different characters you can select. And first up we have Yenendithis Silverkin, and I apologise for the weird names of the characters. Obviously D&D has to have weird names. I'm just going to call him Yen Silverkin for now. But as you can see, the layout of the character card is almost, well, exactly the same in all of the different characters. They have 4 different attributes. You have movement, attack dice, life force and defense dice. They have a colour, and in this case, as you can see there, the colour is yellow. Now you can't see, it didn't come out very well, but round the edges of the different wizards is the actual colour. So around there, you might be able to spot it just there, there's a little yellow border. It just helps with the different colours. So all the stats are almost identical with 1 or 2 different changes. Movement 1, you can only move 1 square at a time. Attack dice 3, you can roll 3 different dice when he attacks, 2 different dice when he is defending. He has 5 life force, which I'll use chips for, these poker chips. He has a colour yellow, and this is his wizard. Yes, I know, plastic thing stuck to a 2p pence, but that's the best I could do. And each character has a special ability. Now Yen's special ability is he can subtract 1 from his dice roll when casting lawful spells. Now this might be a bit counterintuitive for those who play D&D, because usually it's +1 or +2 to your die rolls, you know, like +1 to saving throws, +2 to melee attacks, that sort of thing. But this case it's minus, and you'll see how that works out as we play the game. So that is Yen Silverkin. Let's take a look at another one. We have Belkas Serpenthelm. Again, his stats are the same: movement, attack die, life force, defense die. But his special ability is that he can attach a magic sword to him. Normally it's a spell which needs to be picked from the spell library. Any wizard can use a magic sword, but once a creature is killed with a magic sword, that magic sword is discarded from the wizard, except in Belkas's case. This is attached and it stays with him right through the game until he is defeated. So that's Belkas. Next we have the only female wizard, Jenris Shieldheart. And her special ability is that she starts with 8 life force, where they normally start with 5. She adds another 3, so she gets 8 life force. She also gets a crystal. Now crystals can be used to bring out bigger monsters like dragons, ogres, that sort of thing. But you have to defeat a creature in order to gain a crystal. But Jenris starts with a crystal. So that is Jenris Shieldheart. Next up we have Quoban Hawklight. His stats are almost identical, except he only has 4 life force instead of 5. And his special ability is that during the spell phase you pick a spell off the top of the library stack and put it in your hand, where Quoban can actually pick 2 spells up, choose which one he wants and keep that, and put the other at the bottom of the deck. So again, you'll see exactly how that works. and his colour is green. I haven't been showing you the colours for the other, but they're just the same sort of things, but different colours. Next we have Elring Zaven. Now you'll notice his movement is a spot. That's because he has a special power. And this special power is that he can teleport 3 squares in any direction. So instead of just moving 1 square at a time, and also he can move through creatures and obstacles, whereas other wizards can't, they have to move around them. So he can teleport up to 3 squares in any direction. Next we have Visnerius Darksbane, and his special ability is to subtract 1 from his die roll when casting chaotic spells. So there you have it, all 6 wizards. Now you can choose wizards by saying yes, I want that one, or I want that one. You can also choose wizards by rolling a die and saying whoever gets the highest gets first pick. Or the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to choose randomly by just mixing and shuffling. And then we're going to pick this one. See what this one is? Over Visnerius Darksbane. So he's going to go over to there to the left, and he is black. So next we're going to choose Corbin Hawklight. So he can pick 2 spells. Excellent. Put this at this side. So, and he is green. Okay, we'll begin with round 1. And as you can see, I've already set some things up. I've put the players on the board. I've also got the life points and the spells. Each player starts off with 5 spells. So that's at the beginning of the round. So I have this dealer just to tell me which person is going first. The round is split into 2 phases. The first phase is the spellcasting phase, and each player does the spellcasting phase first. Then, once it's gone round, the first player then starts with the action phase, and then each player does the action phase. So, 2 phases. So the first phase is the spell phase, and at the beginning of the spell phase, we draw a spell. So we now have 6 different spells. So we have a griffin with a movement of 6, attack dice of 2, ranged attack of 5, that is a crossbow, very hard to see I think, defensive 2, life points of 3, wings, donating that this creature can fly, and a saddle, if you can make that out, donating that the wizard can actually mount on this and move with it. So next we have an ogre. Again the stats down the sides, and here it costs 3 crystals. So not only do we have to roll to see if the spell succeeds, we need 3 crystals before we can even begin to roll. And as we start with no crystals, we certainly can't do that. Magic armor adds 2 defense dice to the wizard. That's what the W stands for. It's for the wizard. There you go. Tremor, yes, I made a bit of a mistake there. That should be law. That should be, I don't know if I have a, yeah, it should be a scales. instead of this symbol, which is a neutral symbol. So that is definitely law. Wizard casts it. All creatures within 2 squares of the wizard are knocked down. Next turn they may only stand up. Okay. Next we have a Stirge. There we go. Subversion. Discard the number of crystals equal to a creature's attack dice to gain that creature at its current health. A range of 3 from the wizard. And back to the Griffin. You'll see how these play out as we play the game. So, spellcasting phase. Let's see what we've got. Well, we can't cast the Ogre because we don't have the crystals. But we can cast the following. So we have 1 neutral, 2 law, and 2 chaotic. Now, the success of casting these spells relies on where the alignment marker is and the alignment chart. Okay, now at the moment it's slap bang in the middle of the chart. I'll zoom in on that so you can take a look. And whatever vertical number set of numbers is showing inside the alignment chart is what we need to roll on a 10-sided die or under in order for that spell to be successful. So if I wanted to do a neutral spell, which is in the middle, the grey is the neutral chart, then we look at the number which is in the middle and it's a 10. So I need to roll a 10 or less on a 10-sided die. Well, it's going to be an automatic. So there's no need to roll for that. So if I wanted to cast a neutral spell, that would be automatic. Because even if I roll a 10-sided die, I can't get more than 10. Yeah. Now if I wanted to cast a chaotic spell, which is the bottom line here, again I look at where the alignment chart is and I can see it's a 5. So I'd have to roll a 5 or less on the dice. And the same with a lawful spell. If I wanted to cast a lawful spell, I'd look along the top line of the chart and see the marker is over the number 5. So I'd have to roll a 5 or less, just like the chaotic spell. Now every time you cast a spell, whether it fails or is successful, you move the alignment marker, 1 space in the direction of the alignment of the spell you've cast. So for example, let's say I wanted to cast a chaotic spell. Again, I'd look at the bottom, I'd see 5, I'd roll the dice. Whether I succeeded or failed, I'd have to move the alignment marker towards the more chaotic. So I'd have to move it across 1 space. So now you can see that I have a bit more of a chance of casting a chaotic spell, less of a chance of casting the lawful spell, and just a bit less of a chance of casting a neutral spell. So again, if another chaos spell was cast, that would be moved, and now you can see the chaos marker, and I just need to get a 7 or less. And now for lawful, for example, I need a 3. Again, if another chaos spell was cast, and as you can see, the more of an alignment of a particular spell, the more you move the marker in favour of that spell. So the more chaotic spells that were cast, the more the balance is tipped in chaotic favour, so the easier chaotic spells will be. Right, so I'm going to go back to the middle. I'm going to take another look at our spells. So, remember we had the Griffin, the Stirge, Subversion, Magic Armor and Tremor. We don't need the Subversion because there are no creatures on the board to try and subverse. We don't need to use our Tremor because there's no creatures within 2 squares of the wizard. but we can use these. So, Griffin, Sturge and Magic Armour. If we were trying to cast the wizard, the wizard, if we were trying to cast the Griffin, we look at the top right hand corner and that is a lawful spell. This indicates lawful. So if we look at our chart, I know you can't see it up there, but we needed to roll a 5 or less if we were going to cast a lawful spell. The same with a chaotic spell. According to the alignment chart, we need to cast 5 or less for a chaotic spell. A neutral spell, however, because the alignment chart is in the middle and neutral is 10, I'll give you a quick look at the chart again. So as you can see, the neutral row is in the middle and it's 10, so we need to roll a 10 or less on a 10-sided die. Well, you can't get more than 10 on a 10-sided die, so that is an automatic cast. So we can cast our Magic Armour without needing to roll any dice, and that gets tucked under our character. So now our character can roll defense dice of 2 plus another defense dice of 2, so that's 4 defense dice. Right, that is Vic's turn for his spells. I hope that made sense. It should make more sense as we play further into the game. Right, so we go from Vic to Quoban Hawklight. Now he starts with 5 spells, but he has a special ability. That special ability that allows him to pick 2 spells instead of 1, choose one and place one back under the spell pile. Well, I think we're going to choose this one and put this vampire back underneath. Let's see what we have got. We have a giant, but that costs us 2 crystals, so we don't have any crystals. We can put that to one side. Repel, move any creature next to the wizard up to 2 squares away. Well, there's no creatures next to the wizard, so we don't need to use that one. Dark Power. Now this has no number or letters and no symbols, so this can be used without rolling a dice. It's an automatic thing. Move the alignment marker 3 spaces towards chaos. Okay, we can use that one. Gold Dragon, 5 crystals, can't use that. But we have a bat. So we have Dark Power, Magic Armour, Bat. Well, we know that because it's neutral and it's on 10, this is an automatic cast. So I think we shall cast our Magic Armour. And that now slots underneath, like so. And that is our spell casting phase over with. So now we move over to the action phase. So I'll move this across, like so, just to remind me. In the action phase, this is where you can move, then attack, or attack. You cannot attack, then move, okay? So our wizards can move if they want, 1 space at a time. This is where our creatures would move, but we don't have any creatures on the board. So Vic is not going to move, so that's his action phase over with. And Quoban isn't going to move, so that's his action phase over with. So then it goes back to Vic, and it's back to the spell phase. Spell phase, we start by picking a spell. Let's see all these spells we've got. Again, we have the Griffin, Sturge, Ogre, Subversion, Tremor, and now we have a new one, Lightning. Attack 2 dice and a range of 3 from the wizard. Attack all creatures within radius, including your own. So you're bringing down a lightning strike around you, but you're not focusing it on specific creatures, it's just all around you. Well, we don't need to do any of that because there's nothing around us. No creatures within range, and we don't have any crystals to bring them over to our side. Again, no creatures within 2 squares of us. So we have Ogre, we need 3 crystals. So we have the Sturge or the Griffin. Now, you do not have to you do not have to cast any spells if you don't want to. There are other things you can do in the spell phase. For example, I could discard one spell, any spell, and then move the alignment marker 1 space in any direction. Or I can discard any number of spells. So if I discarded 3 spells, I could move that marker 3 spaces in any direction. This just helps when you want to cast certain spells. But I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to try and I'm going to cast... I can't cast it over. I shall try and cast this Sturge. So, I know now it's a chaotic spell, so I need to look at my chart, and I can see the chaotic is the bottom row, and I can see the number in the bottom row inside that alignment marker is 5. So I need to roll a 5 or less. So here we go, we need to roll a 5 or less in order to be successful to cast this Sturge, and we got a 1. Hey, awesome. So that means this spell was successful. So we need to get out pawn number 43. Give me a second, they're over there. Here we go. Sturge. Put it on its base. And when a creature is cast, it's always brought out next to the wizard. So now that belongs to Vic. Move those over a bit. And we need to place 2 life chips on this creature, just so we know. 2 life chips. So now that is Vic's spell casting phase over with. Go to Quoban. Again, instead of just picking 1 spell, he picks 2. See which one he likes. I think he'll keep this one, discard this one. Now let's take a look at what spells Quoban's got. Well, we can't cast the Giant because we don't have any crystals. There are no creatures next to us, so we don't need to cast that. We certainly can't cast the Gold Dragon. We don't have any crystals. We can cast Dark Power. Repel, we don't have any creatures next to us. So basically it boils down to and I think I will cast Dark Power. So what happens there is I'm going to move the alignment marker 3 spaces towards Chaos. So as we can see, there's an arrow pointing which way Chaos is. So we need to move it 1, 2, 3. This is now discarded. And that is Quoban's spell phase over with. And we're going to the action phase. And we have a Sturge, which we can move. And the movement for the Sturge is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Movement phase over with. Vic doesn't want to move. Up to Quoban. I think he is going to move back 1. The Sturge seems to be closing in, and he's going to move back 1. So that is round 2 over with. Go on to round 3 with the start of the spell phase. Again, grab a spell and see what we have. Dark Power. Lightning. There's no creatures within range, so we don't need that. Again, we don't have crystals to use Subversion. Tremor, there's nobody around us. 3 crystals we need to cast the Ogre. But we can cast Griffin or Dark Power. Now, looking on our chart, I can see that if we wanted to cast a lawful spell, we need to roll a 2 or less. Which, you know, on a D10, I'll be pushing my luck. If I cast Dark Power, it'll move it more towards the Chaotic, which means there'll be absolutely no chance of me casting a lawful spell. No, I'm not casting anything. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one of the extra things that I mentioned. I'm going to discard. I'm going to discard Dark Power, Ogre, and Subversion. So I'm going to discard 3 spells, which means I can move this marker 3 spaces in any direction. So I'm going to get rid of them. And I can move this marker 3 in any direction, and I'm going to move it this way. 1, 2, 3. Like so. So that is Vic's spell phase over with. We now move on to Corbin's spell phase. Remember, 2 spells he picks. Chooses one, puts another one back. He's going to keep his buff. Okay. Add 1 attack dice to the creature you attach it to. Oops, sorry. Is discarded. So let's see what he can cast, if anything. Giant, again, 2 crystals, we can't do that. Repel, there's nothing next to him. Gold Dragon adds crystals, we can't cast that. Repel, nothing's next to the wizard. So we have Bat and Buff. And we shall attempt the Bat, I think. So we can see it's chaotic. If we look at the chart, we need to roll a 5 or less. So here we go, tempting fate, a 5 or less. Oh, excellent, and we got it. So that means we now have the Bat, which is number 21. So I have to find number 21 Bat. And here it is. Put it on its base and place it next to the wizard, which can go. No, is he going to come around there or is he going to go around there? There. And we also need 2 life points. Excellent. So that is now Corbin's spell phase over with, and we move on to the action phase by moving this across. So we have the Sturge, who can move 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vic isn't going to move at all. He's going to stay there. So that's movement for Vic over with. We move on to Quoban, and we have the bat with a movement of 7. So the bat is going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on an action phase, you can move, then attack, but you can't attack, then move. So my bat is going to attack the sturge. Now the bat, let's zoom in and show you the bat. Now as you can see, the bat has only 1 attack dice. So only 1. And he's going to attack with that. Whereas the sturge has a defense dice of 1. So it's 1 against 1 die. So let's see what we get. Take this out. So the bat is going to attack, and we're looking for skulls. Oh, and a complete miss. So the bat has missed. So that is that round over with, and it goes back to Vic with his spell phase. So join me next time when I carry on with the game, and we'll see what creatures we can get on the battlefield. Okay, see you later guys.